Welcome back. We're going to bring this third power into each of these exponents. So 2/3 times 3 times 5 to the 3/4 times 3. These 3's cancel out. So this is 4 to the second power times 5 to the 9/4 power. 4 squared is 16 times 5 to the 9/4 power. That's as far as you can go. All right, so we're going to bring this 1/3 power into each of these. 3 to the 3/2 power times 1/3 times 3 to the 3rd power times 1/3. These 3's are going to cancel out. These 3's are going to cancel out. This is 3 to the 1/2 power times 3 to the 1st power. So we're going to add the exponents. 1/2 plus 1, which is 3 to the 3/2 power. Over here, we're going to take 7 to the 2/3 power times 3/5. Raise that to the 3rd power. Cancel this. That becomes 7 to the 2/5 power to the 3rd power, which is 7 to the 2/5 times 3, which is 7 to the 6/5 power. First thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract these exponents in here. This becomes 5 to the 4/2 divided by 5 to the 7/2 raised to the -1/3 power. So this is 1 over 5 to the 3/2 to the -1/3 power. So negatives, we're going to flip this upside down, so this becomes 5 to the 3/2 power raised to the 1/3. So it's 5 to the 3/2 times 1/2. So this is 5 to the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to subtract these inside. I'm going to convert this fraction. Show the subtraction. 2 is really, another way you can say that is 4/2. So this becomes 1 over 5 to the 3/2 power raised to the -1/3. Since it's a negative power, we're allowed to do the inverse here. Flip this upside down. So it becomes 5 to the 3/2 power raised to the, now it's a positive 1/3. So it's 5 to the 3/2 times 1/3. They're going to cancel out. This is 5 to the 1/2 power. Okay, so up here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 16 and I'm going to make that 16 is really 2 to the 4th raised to the 1/3 power over 2 to the 1/3 power, and that whole thing is being squared. So that's 2 to the 4/3 over 2 to the 1/3 squared. Do some subtraction like we did over here on this problem. 4/3 minus 1/3 is 3/3, which is 2 to the 3/3 power squared, which is really 2 to the 1st power squared. 2 squared is 4. Check this one out. I'm going to rewrite this. Square root of 6 is 6 to the 1/2 power. Cube root of that is to the 1/3 power. And the 4th root of that is to the 1/4 power. So this becomes 6 to the 1/2 times 1/3 times 1/4, 6 to the 1 over 24th power. I'm going to take these two radicals inside here, and I'm just going to write it like this. 32 over 72. 32 over 72 reduces to 4 over 9. Square root of 4 over 9 is 2 over 3. I'm going to split this up. That's the square root of 2 over the square root of 3. Now I have radicals on the bottom, so we're going to rationalize the bottom by multiplying by root 3 over root 3. So the top is going to become root 6. Bottom is root 9. Simplify root 6 over 3. Then we're done. Okay, I'm going to work from the inside out. 3 cubed to the second power is 3 to the 6th power, times 3 to the 4th to the second power is 3 to the 8th power. 5th root of 3 to the 6th times 3 to the 8th is 3 to the 14th power. I'm going to do this once on this video. I'm not going to do it later on. 3 to the 14th is 3 to the 5th times 3 to the 5th times 3 to the 4th. I'm taking the 5th root of 3 to the 5th, that brings 1 3 outside. I'm taking the 5th root of another 3 to the 5th, that brings another 3 outside. I'm taking the 5th root of 3 to the 4th, which I cannot do. So I'm going to leave this 3 to the 4th under here. Don't forget to keep the index. 3 times 3 is going to be 9. 3 to the 4th power. Okay, we should simplify that because it's relatively easy to do. So it's going to be 5th root of 81. All right, so we're going to go up here, and we're going to say square root of 5/7 times the square root of 4/5. That's going to become the square root of 20 over 35 divided by square root of 10. Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So this becomes square root of 20 over the square root of 35 times 1 over the square root of 10. I'm going to break this up just so you guys see I'm allowed to do this. Okay. Square root of 20 divided by the square root of 10. They cancel. That becomes the square root of 2 over the square root of 35. Now we're going to rationalize the denominator like we did on the problem number 7. Root 35 over root 35. The top is root 70. Bottom 35. No perfect squares in 70, so we just leave that the way that it is. I'm going to simplify this root 12 up here. So this is x to the root 3 power. This is x to the 2 root 3 power. Bases are the same. Add the exponents. Final answer, 3 root 3 power. Number 11, I'm going to split this up. 4th root y to the 8th. I'm going to do the denominator first just to show you what's happening. That denominator can be written as y to the 4th times y to the 4th. 4th root of y to the 4th is going to be y. Another 4th root of y to the 4th is going to be another y. So my bottom can just be written as y squared. So if there's the 8th power and they're taking a 4th root, that means it's going to be 2 here. So the top, hopefully, I don't have to write that all out. You kind of understand. If this is x to the 17th, that means you can take 4 groups of 4 out, which leaves 1 inside here. And that's how the outside and top gets written. So final answer. All right, how about number 12? We're going to take this -1. I'm going to flip this thing over right from the start. Sometimes I flip it over right from the start. Sometimes I do the math inside first. Of course, this is written to the first power. We don't really have to write that. So now we're just going to do x to the 1/2 minus 1/4, which is x to the 1/4 power. Okay, that's how that gets written.